Since you guys insist, we will watch the Ethan Klein Tim Dillon debate. I don't know a lot about Tim Dillon. I think he's a comedian, like a growing, like a really well liked comedian, very honest guy. Don't know too much about him outside of that. They talk about Andrew Tate. This is okay. Let's do it.
You ready for this one?
I don't even know.
Okay, I know what you did.
Next.
No,
Yes.
just kidding. It's not about that. Andrew Tate, I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
I think it would be really good to get somebody's perspective that's like not like permanently online. You know what I mean? I know I've been using that word a lot lately, but like, you know, a lot Ethan is. You could argue that I am too. You know, sometimes. I mean, I do go out into the real world and talk to people sometimes, but like, I think this is a good thing because this is a guy who lives offline. So maybe he has like, you know, something normal to say.
Oh,
Is he did they banned him on everything?
he's banned on everything.
Oh.
I know
Seems
you
a
didn't
little-
love that. I love it.
Well, yes, I know that you love it, but I just worry about
Boner.
you know, number one, is he that crazy that you would ban him?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I have clips because I wanted to persuade you.
Okay.
You don't
Okay.
need to agree with me.
For sure.
In my
I'm
opinion.
always reluctant to ban anyone.
Right.
Because yeah.
And I think, honestly, I'm going to say,
Yeah.
because a lot of people go, oh, well, they're going to ban him. They're going to start banning everybody.
Right.
But the people who have been truly
Yeah.
deplatformed
Yeah.
kind of deserved it.
Okay, like who?
I don't know much about
Because like Gina Carano, I don't think she deserved it. She was saying some dumb things like comparing Republicans to Jews in the Holocaust, like at the beginning, like Republicans are getting persecuted, which I think is wildly dumb and ignorant, but I don't think was ban worthy. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know that everybody's getting banned justifiably and that everybody deserves it. You know, so I could see something like Alex Jones for sure, considering he was literally proposing a conspiracy theory about Sandy Hook. You know, there are some instances where I get it, you know, but I don't think all of them are necessarily. Did she really get banned? I guess she didn't really get banned. I guess she just got taken off of her show, The Mandalorian. But like, still, you know what I mean? I'm apprehensive about the cancel culture a lot of times for sure. I think I have a pretty good take on it. Like, they're just going to martyr Andrew Tate. They're not really solving the core of the problem when it comes to young men, like looking for like young men. There's issues for men. We talk about it sometimes, like, and they gravitate to Andrew Tate because nobody else is talking about it. And everybody's like, you don't have any problems. But the problem with a lot of men, I think a lot of young men is that, you know, there's a high expectation of them to succeed in life more than that we put on women. We do put it on women sometimes, and jobs are disappearing and wages are being driven down. I think that's a big issue. And like school systems aren't pushing them to do the right thing. Not everybody knows what they want to do at 18. The kid's like, I don't know what I want to do. Push them to a trade. We need trades. But instead, schools are like, go to college. You know what I mean? I don't think that we're guiding young people in general into the right direction if they don't know what they want to do.
I know he says a lot of wild stuff. I haven't heard anything where I'd go, he should be banished.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Well, here, let's see. I mean, let's see. I know you've seen a lot of these ones because I saw you talking about it in your clip. Oh, this video's not available. Yeah, a lot of these are just too insane to put on.
What is he saying that is
There's a video of him beating, but
He's saying stuff like
Yeah.
that women are the
well, the beating thing, I think you have to understand that the woman like was in lingerie, and she even said that this is like something that they do. It's like a game. We have to like so that there's the other woman that was in the bathroom that he was chasing. Some people were saying that that was the woman recording originally, and that was like a game for them. I don't know if that's true. I've never seen that aspect of the video. But like, we do need to understand that like, if that girl said, she came forward and said like, this didn't happen the way you're saying it, you could just choose to not believe her. I get why, but at the end of the day, like, if you're deciding that she doesn't understand the situation better than you, like, then you're just saying that like this woman can't advocate for herself. I don't know that there's anything mentally wrong with her, making her incapable of being able to advocate for herself. So
property of their boyfriend or husband, whatever it is.
yeah, I think that's
You're saying
wrong, but that doesn't mean that they should be banished. You
Is-
know?
okay, which I disagree with.
Yeah.
Clearly. That being said, is when he is saying that, are we going to ban every religious person on YouTube that says something that's very similar to that? Right?
no, I think
No.
ultimately what
True.
he advocates
Yeah.
is for violence against women.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a stretch. I know I've seen the video where he's like, I'll beat a girl up, blah, blah, blah. If she tries to fight, it was a weird video where he was talking about how women shouldn't do self-defense because they're going to lose to a man anyway. And like, it was definitely like stupid, but he wasn't saying he wants to beat women. He was saying like fundamentally, like that just like a woman wouldn't be able to defend herself. It's a bad take. I don't think that he's advocating for violence. I think he's advocating for like a very archaic system where like I should be able to get a bunch of girls because I'm making money and women are my property kind of a thing. I don't think it's right, but I don't think it's like a ban worthy.
So I've seen no.
He's
yeah,
pro
I've seen no
like
proof
keeping
of
your
that.
woman in
Yeah.
check.
Okay.
He has videos of him saying like, if I catch my woman cheating, I think you saw that.
Well,
He referenced it.
Well, I think there's one of the things
You
where.
say, oh, he's joking. He's not. Though.
Well, he said if she came at me with a machete, I think the full context of that, because people were correcting me
Let me scroll
online.
this up.
They were
Oh,
saying
new
the
link.
full-
Okay, here.
The full context was, he
Some
was saying
pussy ass
Here.
if she grabbed the machete, he'd grab a machete or something like that.
Here, let's watch.
Yeah,
dude once said to me,
You
yeah,
probably
but if
can
it's
show
next
it
to
then.
You think
Right?
so?
Yeah.
you can
Just
show
don't
it.
I'll just show it to Tim. You
Yeah.
guys can hear the audio. He has a big ass fucking knife.
bed, what if you like upset a girl and she catches you cheating and gets a machete?
There's no female alive, even with a machete, that would stand a chance against a
Ethan's laughing at the video. Like even you know it's satire at this point.
immense power I possess. Have you ever seen a woman try and do anything complicated? Like, imagine a girl pick this up. If I pick this up, you ain't fucking with me. I'm a left-hander. I'd still like jab. I'd fucking swing low, take a fucking knee out.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. He's like, oh, if a woman took this, I think the context is like, if I cheated on a woman, she came in with a machete, like, I'll beat her. Like, she couldn't win even with a machete. This is not advocating to beat women. This is just saying that he doesn't think a woman could beat him up. That's, sure, that's like obviously sexist. I don't know if some woman had a machete on me. I don't know if I would win. I'm also not probably like a fighter, but like, it's very clear that this isn't just about beating up women, you know?
A lot.
I mean, it feels more though to me like a guy who's being a troll than
so
a
that
guy who's saying kill
This
a
was
woman
the
with
debate,
a machete.
okay?
But if
And again, I'm not saying he should be like a senator.
Right.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Well, I mean, based on the senators we have, maybe he should be.
if you take into context also that he's done sex trafficking, does it change your
Well,
opinion?
listen,
Well, but like, what sex trafficking are we talking about? Right, this allegation could be true. I think that they're definitely questions. I think he's a red flag. You should stay away from the guy. But like, what sex trafficking are we referring to? Are we referring to like the girl? They think there were two girls that were in his like building, and like the story is that the one guy, the boyfriend saw her on the Twitch stream or something, and then called the cops because she was like, "I'm here without like I don't want to actually be here," because like he saw that they were hanging out. Like, that's such like out and like, you know what, I understand why people are apprehensive, because Tate's like, I went to Romania so that I can escape the Me Too movement, and so that I can also engage in the same level of corruption that like politicians engage in. Like, as he's like, it's only fair if they get to break the rules, I do too. That doesn't mean he did it, but I can understand why you would be like, yeah, this is like really weird. But we have to understand that this is like it's just an allegation, and we can't just instantly affirm every allegation that exists. Like, that's a dangerous game. Or you're referring to the webcam business. Like, yeah, I think that's shitty and scummy. I don't like it's, but fundamentally he sets up an infrastructure for a bunch of webcam girls to make money. I don't know if I would consider that necessarily predatory. Could be. I mean, if he's providing the infrastructure, you know what I mean? Because like, we understand, like, usually people that like lean left are like, yeah, sex work's okay. So you can't make just the fundamental sex work argument. Then you have to prove that he's forcing them to be there. And he did make that statement on his website about how he got the girls to fall in love with him and they made him do webcam stuff. That could be true. I understand why it's a red flag. But then I've also heard him talk about these explicitly, and he's like, yeah, I had 5 girlfriends. I had them all come to Romania. I told them I want to start a webcam business. 3 of them left, which shows that like consent was given in some capacity, right? Because they were able to leave. And then, like, maybe this was a financial opportunity for these girls. If you're against the sex work part, then you should be against sex work. A lot of times women turn to sex work when they don't have other financial opportunities. That sounds like a Romania problem, we can't just say everything's sex trafficking. I understand why you would be like, I really, like, to say that I even think it's okay to say, I think you should be banned because, like, I believe the allegations against him, even if they're not proven. I disagree with you. I think it's just like a slippery slope to agree with allegations that are just allegations, but at least you're being honest. But when you're trying to make it like you're saying like he's sex trafficked, you can't really assert that, right? Because you don't really know.
listen, 100% if he's doing.
And then again, with like, if my girlfriend had an OnlyFans, I'd take 80% or whatever. Like, yeah, for sure. I get why these are red flags, but nothing seems like non-consensual.
Sex trafficking, well,
He
then
is.
that's
He is.
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, if that needs to be handled by authorities. I mean,
It
that's
is.
beyond the scope of YouTube. Yeah, no,
Yeah, of course. And
yeah, I mean, that's
the
not-
embassy got
Yeah, no,
reported.
no,
He
no, so what do you think? I'm going to be like, well, that's not a big
No,
deal.
but like,
Yeah.
even if you think that maybe
Yeah.
that video was just trolling,
Yeah.
like knowing the full scope of who the guy
if
is kind of puts
he's
it in.
doing that,
Here's
right?
my take,
it's,
right?
it's one.
Yeah, if he's doing that, then definitely ban him. But that's you can't. Like, it's just not substantiated enough.
100%. Not it's a he
Now,
needs
that's a
to
legal
be-
issue. It's not a
Ye-
sensitive
oh
issue.
yeah.
So here's
yes,
my take.
Yeah.
I think in the totality of his work and the influence it's having,
Yeah.
he is recruiting men and encouraging violence and control of women. Now, here's where I
Well, where's the violence? He's recruiting young men. He's taking advantage of young men in this like multi-level marketing scheme bullshit. 100% agree with that. Again, I don't know if that would be ban worthy, you know?
see it.
Right.
I think a lot of people see it differently.
Because like we call it like an MLM. Realistically, you sign up and you get a Discord with a bunch of like bullshit advice, and people want that advice. So like, what are we supposed to tell? You know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to say? You know, like if you want to pay $50 a month to get some bullshit like shitty advice, maybe it helps people. I don't know. Maybe there's more to this than we know. That isn't just about being shitty to women. But okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about censorship. We're talking about freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Everybody believes in censorship. It's just a matter of where you draw the line.
sure.
Do you think, for example, ISIS should be able to have a TikTok channel?
No, but ISIS is not the same as Andrew Tate. ISIS advocates for like death. KKK advocates for death. Nazis advocate for death. Andrew Tate never advocates for any death. So like, yeah, we draw a line, but like this isn't about where we're drawing a line. This is about you trying to make it seem like Andrew Tate's as bad as ISIS. This is a dishonest argument. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, here's ISIS, here's Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? It's not the same spot. Like, when we get it on camera, you know, this is Andrew Tate. This is, I don't know. You know my point. They're not close to each other, honestly.
What are they doing? Is it
They're just
fun?
talking about
Is
cool
if they're dancing, then yes.
They're radicalizing people. They're talking about like infidels, and we need to stone infidels. And
Yeah, that's advocating for literal violence.
Right.
you
If
need
I'm-
to come to you know, if you don't join us,
Sure.
you're going to go to hell.
But you might have to delete a lot more channels than ISIS if you were going to apply a very broad definition.
But that doesn't happen.
Well, let's just.
But I mean, here's the thing: there's a lot of clerics, Islamic clerics, that are in the UK that say very similar things to that.
Are they on TikTok?
Probably. I mean, you could easily pull up 10 incredibly offensive.
Let
yeah.
me just.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's hate speech, right?
Well, it depends on what they're saying. I think it's the hate speech thing is very blurry, right?
Yeah.
Because like if you criticize certain people in a war, for example, right? For example, they allowed the social media companies allowed people to say things about Russian people. Not only Putin, they were able to say hateful things about Russian people during the onset of the Russia-Ukraine war. They were kind of allowing some more of that stuff, right? So I think it's really that these.
You're saying you couldn't support Russia?
No, you could say anything you wanted to about Russia. You could say kill all Russia. You could say all that stuff. I think a lot of these standards are unevenly applied because it's
that's fair.
difficult to apply standards evenly.
Wait, how is it? I'm confused about what were people being censored about in the Ukraine?
No, they.
What he's saying is a very easy argument to understand. What he's saying is that when they were like in this really is still going on with the Russia-Ukraine situation, it was more acceptable on social media to say hateful, violent things about Russians, not the Russian government, Russians, than it was to say about Ukrainian people. And it's like we're applying these double standards. We're applying these unevenly. That's the point that he's making.
They weren't. For example, you're saying if there's hate speech, and you go, what constitutes that? Because
It's I think what constitutes that is calling for violence or
Andrew Tate's not doing that. I don't know what to tell you.
violence against
I think harassment, for example, doxing and harassment, targeted harassment of people and doxing are very easy to identify and
for
shouldn't
sure.
be tolerated.
Exactly,
But
I agree with
people
that.
saying hateful things about each other, or
it's more about targeting a group of people, right?
Sure.
So
yeah.
Also, like, let's acknowledge that these are private companies. It's not.
Oh, they
at
can do
that
whatever
point,
they want.
It's not even really a free speech
no,
issue.
they can absolutely do whatever they want.
The government owned Twitter. It'd be a whole different conversation. But
Well, I mean, like, I don't think it would be a whole different conversation. People have the right to say they shouldn't have done the thing. Even I could acknowledge Facebook and do whatever they want, Instagram do whatever they want, but I could also say I don't think that they made the right choice. It's called public advocation. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, I think that because now we're having like when it comes down to it, like Twitter, all social media now is like town halls. Instead of going out and talking to people in a lot of instances, you do it online. And so, like, banning somebody from there is a conversation to have about like banning their ability to communicate in a lot of different ways.
But where I actually agree with them is that, so I personally think if ISIS was doing like the Sprite Challenge on TikTok, I wouldn't be down with that.
For sure.
Because ultimately their goal is to radicalize people.
Sure, but he's not part of ISIS, and his ideology isn't anywhere near as dangerous as ISIS.
Yes.
And ultimately, kill people like me.
Right.
And lots of other people.
Well,
Everyone
and
that's
me,
not that.
and
yeah,
anyone,
yeah.
right,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not even about me. He hates everyone. And then, so let's take it a little bit further. Do you think that like the KKK or like ultra-white nationalists should be able to have a TikTok or YouTube channel where they...
No, of
I think
course not.
probably, and the reason I say that is because
Well, I don't think so, because again, they advocate for killing somebody, but Andrew Tate isn't anywhere near that area.
I think if you like we dealt with the KKK for many years by ignoring them, right? KKK, they're able to march, they're able to speak. This is something the Supreme Court ruled on.
Yeah, that's free speech.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
not what we're talking about.
No, I mean if TikTok
Well, that is kind of what you're talking about. If you're just going to say that social media companies do whatever they want, then there's no conversation to have. So this is actually exactly what we're talking about.
wants to ban their channel, I don't, as a private company, they can do whatever they want. If you ask me, should people with horrible views be allowed on social media? I would say yes, because I think you need to counter those with better views.
I think there's a
That's
difference
fair.
between bad views
Yeah.
and like dangerous views. Like,
Agreed.
and by the way,
Yes,
this
I
whole
think that's true.
and the whole like notion of like the battle of ideas or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
good ideas beat bad ideas. I think we've learned that's not really happening, is it?
It is. What do you mean? Not for nothing, but when Andrew Tate first came on the scene, everybody was like, oh my God, top G. Again, I kept saying this. I even predicted this in the beginning. By the end, he was a meme. He was a meme. He was a lolcow. People thought he was a fucking joke. Everybody was clowning on him because they realized once he started speaking, he can't really articulate himself well. He can't really hold to his ideology, and he falls back on a lot of conspiracy theories. He looks for, and Hassan's the one that like started it, to be honest with you. Hassan was the first one who dunked on him. So what do you mean that it doesn't really work? It does work. You're just wrong objectively in this situation. You're just incorrect.
Well,
On the
sure.
internet,
Well,
it doesn't really happen.
Well, it doesn't happen because these algorithms of these companies are designed to reward negativity, right? They're designed to reward
That's part
certain
of it,
things
sure.
and not reward other things. But I think that
Well, they reward views and clicks. They don't really care about like the moral virtue of different things. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
the thing is when RT gets deleted,
That's
from
probably
YouTube-
why they
Yeah.
even see it more paramount
For
to
sure.
erase that shit. But,
But like when RT gets deleted from YouTube, and you have people like Chris Hedges, who's an anti-war correspondent, or Abby Martin, or people like that, their entire library of work gets deleted. And you know there are people that don't like them. There are people that, but they're not engaging in hate speech per se.
No,
and
I
I
don't
feel
know
like
who you're
what
referring to, so,
they're just
yeah.
Chris Hedges, a war correspondent.
so why was his channel?
Well, it was just part of RT, right? So they just deleted this entire
like Russian
li-
propaganda?
Well, it was a
Or
network.
so is what they said.
Well, it's a network that's not American, right? So it's
Oh, I
like
see what you're saying.
it's not an American
Okay.
network per se, but you have his entire library of content that gets deleted with that. My thing is who makes these decisions? Like these are all unaccountable people that work at these companies that are making these decisions. Is there any process that could be more democratic, more transparent, where that the banning is not just an edict of a small group of people? Is there a way to do it that might
Well,
be
they'll
more-
never. It would have to be owned by the government for that to ever be a thing. There's no incentive
Sure.
for them to do anything not opaquely.
Right. So I just wonder, I don't know what
I think
I
things to
just
be true,
wonder
right?
what's the big fear.
Yeah.
What are you? What
Well,
are
the big fear
you
is
and
al- the
other
big fear
people
is
so
always
worried?
that, for example, people were getting kicked off Twitter in the beginning of COVID for saying that COVID may have originated in a lab. Now that is a belief that's been in the mainstream news media.
But so
Yeah.
there was a difference, right? At the time, it was like there was literally no evidence to support that.
That's untrue. That's not true.
I think it is
There
true.
were doctors.
No, it's not. They. I want you to understand. Like, I listened to this on NPR. There was like a doctor who was trying to like advocate, and say, like, "Hey, this shit's fucking happening," and trying to like allegedly kill this guy. It seems to be the going narrative is that like it's even Jon Stewart himself said it that like it probably happened in a lab. Now the going narrative now is like they were trying to investigate. They're trying to come up with an antidote to the coronavirus. So and then like it went haywire. But like, if you ever heard Jon Stewart say this, Jon Stewart's like, we have bats in Texas. Why did it happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, we have bats in Texas. How come it didn't happen in Texas? Right? Now, it's possible it came from like some kind of like a fucking freak accident. I don't really know. Could have had to do with like China just being, people are very packed in together and something went crazy. But like, yeah, this is a good point. There's something that in the beginning of the coronavirus, the government was telling people that like masks didn't really help. I know that this sounds crazy. I heard on NPR, they're like, yeah, they did that because they wanted hospitals to have masks and gloves. And then afterwards, like, yeah, this actually does help. Confuses the fuck out of people when you give like one entity too much power and like they control the narrative now. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I think he's making a reasonable argument. And then you ban this idea, and then what happens? People are like, there must be something to this. Not for nothing, but like that didn't really help people. You know, especially the misrepresentation of different things. Like what Joe Rogan took ivermectin for humans. The human version, and people were like on CNN were like, oh, he took the horse version. He was just taking horse dewormer, blah 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 blah. You know, like I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but it's just like the one side obviously misrepresented Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? And you're gonna ban misinformation when it comes to COVID, which I understand, but you're not gonna ban when it's more conservative leaning. But when it's more progressive leaning, like CNN, you didn't ban CNN or what they said. So like this is what we're talking about is an application of uneven standards. This is why Trump has supporters. this fundamental ideology, right? This is why Trump has supporters. It doesn't help, especially if you apply it unevenly. If they ban CNN too, there would be much less of an issue. I think that's the problem, is it's not applied evenly. And I said this before, you can't really point to a person that's like the direct opposite of Andrew Tate, that's doing things that are as, I guess you'd say, crazy as Andrew Tate. I get that. But like fundamentally, you see it time and time again where they ban the opposite, right?
They're saying that this is a manipulated virus. They're saying it's producing effects that they've never seen before. And even if there was no evidence to support it, they ended up being right.
Well, some doctors were saying it was manipulated.
Yeah, but I mean,
the vast majority of experts were saying there's no reason to believe.
But to delete
that
someone
this was created in a lab. Now, the vast
majority of experts reverse themselves on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of experts end up like being like, oh, we initially had this information, we got new information, we changed our perspective because of the new information. That happened with Fauci a lot. I think that's perfectly reasonable, especially when you're dealing with something very new. But to just constantly assert that, like, this is we knew about the coronavirus basically 100% at the beginning, absolutely not. This is how science works. It's something very new. It's something very different. And people are like, they're making reasonable assumptions based on their interactions with other viruses or in issues, but then sometimes they're wrong about some stuff, right?
I don't think people were getting banned just for saying, I think this originated in China. I think people were getting banned for like outright,
Well, that's not the argument. It did originate in China. That's an objective fact. But I don't know what you're talking about. They're saying in a lab in China, right? I mean, I think that like it came from bats is just as much of a theory as it came from a fucking lab in China. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, which one sounds crazier if you think about it?
hateful shit, like calling it like kung
That's
flu.
possible. Both are possible.
And saying we need to fucking. There's people that take it.
Yes, the kung flu thing wasn't right because with Trump calling it the kung flu and trying to speak poorly of China to blame them, it indirectly had a very negative impact on all Asian Americans because so white people, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, etc., they're all the same. So that was having a negative impact on Asian people, 100%, right? But that's not necessarily like a COVID. It's a little bit different of an argument, though, no?
To a degree that is inciting hate and violence against Asian people, which was a problem. So I don't think people were really getting banned.
But there were instances of people that have been banned for certain things where you go, these are now accepted things or they're now mainstream beliefs.
Right, but you have to draw the difference, right? Because people, you could say, I think this originated in China. You don't get banned.
Yeah.
There's the people that during a time when Asian people were being fucking attacked.
Alex Barron's is a guy who just got kicked off Twitter. He actually won a court case. He just got put back on. He's a big critic of the vaccine, right? He just actually won a court case. Part of my thing here is like, should we be giving the people that run
I'm interested in that more.
Tech companies complete and total authority and power over the public domain?
That's fair, especially since it's basically our new town square.
And I think that we can all find egregious examples of people that say very offensive things. We go, yes, they shouldn't have a platform. That being said, I don't know that this is when you say like, what is everyone afraid of? I think people like me that make a living speaking or whatever, I don't think we're completely comfortable with giving private tech companies complete control over the public domain.
But you're not saying anything on the level of what he's saying.
No, I'm not worried about myself per se. I'm just saying I don't know where things go. And I think that there's a certain acknowledgement of the fact that like small groups of people making decisions for everybody is not necessarily in the interest of everybody, right? I mean, this throughout history, you've seen that like if you have complete total power, that might not be good.
Right. I feel like
so that's where I just look at Twitter and I go, this is a very small group of people that have complete power.
That's true.
Yeah, that's my thing.
I feel like that could be a solid thing to talk about, but we can talk about it not when we're talking about Andrew Tate being removed, because I don't think that what you're talking about applies to this guy who is just.
But you guys are like outright validating allegations that are allegations. Like you're saying that he's sex trafficked, but you don't really know that, do you? Right? Like we don't actually know that he actually is a sex trafficker. There's some information to suggest it, but you guys take it like wildly out of context, and you're not like you guys. You've leveraged fake false assault accusations before against Fresh and Fit. So like, what credibility do you feel like you have left? I mean, you guys don't really seem to understand a lot of the things that you're talking about. You don't seem to be very good commentators, considering you don't actually watch the content you do commentary on. So like, where's your credibility at? Like, what do you really have left in this space?
He's saying vile stuff that I'm a woman. You're not. It doesn't affect you. So
it's okay to hate him 100%, but like, so if you saying like I hate the guy, like I don't even think I don't think it's even wrong that they said that he should be removed from social media. I do disagree with it, but I don't think it's necessarily wrong for them to say that, but to say it while also affirming allegations that aren't necessarily true. We don't know if they're true. That's the problem, right? That's where we get into like an issue. Because now you have, if you feel like you need these allegations to be true for him to get banned, then like if they're not true, then he shouldn't be banned, right? Like I mean, it's very, I mean, right? Obviously,
does in the sense that we all live in a society. I don't want women
but what I
mistreated.
but it doesn't affect you like it does me.
What
I'm a woman.
Yeah.
He hates me. Yeah, like you know what I mean? It's like Jews and the KKK.
No, yeah, I understand that he.
nah, it's not the same. Like I don't think that. First of all, I don't think he hates women. I think that he is condescending to women in a shitty way. I don't think he hates women. I think he patronizes women. It's not the same as the KKK or Nazis when it comes to Jewish people or black people or anything. Like those people killed black and Jewish people. Andrew Tate's not trying to kill anybody. It just needs you to understand that like this is a hyperbolic argument. You can hate him all you want. I'm just saying this is obviously a very hyperbolic argument. And like if we're gonna play the woman to woman, like there's women who don't give a fuck about Andrew Tate in any capacity. Like my wife's seen this stuff. She's like, I just don't care. He's a loser. I think everybody knows that he's a loser. So if we're gonna be like, well, I'm a woman, so like, well, okay, but there's other women who disagree with you. So like, on the virtue of being a woman, you can't just say like, well, I'm a woman, so I have to be right. There's a lot of different people with a lot of different views on it. I think most women just think he's a fucking loser, and they're just like, yeah, he's a loser and he's a meme. Nobody really cares anymore. He's a red flag, and we're happy he's saying it public. That's one of the things my wife said. She's like, I'm happy he's saying it publicly. I know to stay away from him. At this point, if you don't stay away from him, you're kind of an idiot. You know, I'm not trying to be a fucking asshole. You know. If something ever happened to you, like some kind of like sexual assault, obviously that'd never be your fault. But like if you date this guy and he's like, yeah, you can't go out with your friends, but I can go on vacation with my friends. You fucking saw it coming. Like what is it? You have no excuse at this point. You saw him say he thinks it's fine for him to go out with his buddies to like, you know, on vacation, but you can't go out with anybody but him on vacation. Like you should know, you see the fucking signs coming.
Rouses, he says crazy things.
So my thing is like, what's interesting is that the amount of people I see who are like free speech, let's not ban Tate, or a lot of the stuff I say is I don't like Tate, but
I honestly haven't seen like anybody talk about it from a free speech perspective. I talk about I like honestly most of them just talk about it from like the allegations aren't proven type of perspective, you know. But
you know, I believe in not censoring people in free speech. It's all men, right?
It's all men.
If you talk, it really is.
There's got to be some women.
I'm
well,
sure
let's look for that one.
No, I'm sure there's literally it's 100% men from what I
think it's like I'm gonna be honest. I think the majority of women probably dislike Andrew Tate more than men, but that doesn't mean that the majority of women would agree he should be banned. If you go out into the real world and you show people Andrew Tate and you say, should this person be banned? They'd be like, no, he's a fucking moron. Like that's how I know for a fact that's how my mother would talk about it. Like he's a fucking idiot. Most people, that's how most people would feel, you know? The women that Hila hangs out with probably think the same as her. I'm sure makes sense. I'm just saying, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like most people wouldn't care as much as you guys do, but I could be wrong.
Andrew Tate has good ideas. I don't think his ideas are good for young men. What I think is,
hold on, what do you say?
Present men from what
I don't think Andrew Tate has good ideas. I don't think his ideas are good for young men. What I think is there is a whole other problem about unilaterally banning somebody, the way these platforms work together to ban somebody overnight, completely remove them.
Yeah,
it's not overnight.
Well, it may not.
Yeah, it kind of was, but okay.
Not be overnight, but it's
not overnight. It's over
a long. Right, the way
I'm sure it's been debated for a long time.
Sure, but that process maybe should be a little bit more public.
So do you?
Somebody said, nah, seriously, what Tate pushes is harmful, misogynistic, and shouldn't be allowed to influence many kids and men, and it could push some of the to even killing their partners. I think it's a little bit of reach, so banning him is a good thing. Okay, so let's ban all religion from the social media. All religions are founded on like very regressive ideas about women and about gay people. Let's ban all religion from social media right now. Ethan can't be Jewish on social media anymore. Neither can like Hila. Nobody can be Jewish. Nobody can be Christian. Nobody can be Muslim. Nobody can be anything. You have to ban them all now. Like, do you see how like where we just decided that like massive ideologies that a lot of aspects I disagree with when it comes to the regressive views on women and gay people. Now they should all be banned. Like what makes Andrew Tate different from from traditional religion? What makes it different is that the traditional religion's worse. Historically, has killed a lot of people on the foundation of those religions. A lot of people have died. A lot of religious wars. So, like, to explain to me why Tate should be banned, but not Christianity. I really want to hear that argument. You know, so Yeah, I mean, like, where do you want to, like, I mean, I'm being consistent. I don't think we should ban any religions. I think that we should change people. We change our ideologies, and we have been. That's why religion is becoming less radicalized. It's happening, rather than, like, you know, banning it all and giving people like a reason to be like, see, they're targeting us. I just think you have to be like consistent. If you're consistent, you're like, ban them both. Okay, I disagree with you. But do you see how once I brought it to religion, something that's arguably much worse, you know? You know what I'm saying? We need to combat the real misogyny. But here, okay, I get what you're saying. But like, here's the thing: part of Andrew Tate isn't even the big. I would argue that the biggest issue with Andrew Tate isn't even necessarily the misogyny. It is a really big issue. But I don't necessarily... There are people who are gravitating to Andrew Tate because he's misogynistic, and then there are people who are gravitating towards Andrew Tate because they're young men who are feeling like society is shitting on them, and when they speak up about it, society says, you're a man, you don't struggle. And then what ends up happening? Well, where are you going to go? The only person that says, I understand that you have a struggle as a man. Oh, it's Andrew Tate. He's the only big figure really talking about it in a real way. All over social media, it's acceptable to shit on men on social media, but when women shit on when men shit on women, we ban that. So what happens to all those young men that get banned? They go to Andrew Tate. I'm just letting you know this is what happens, because we don't go like, yeah, you know, you do have a struggle. You know, maybe it's not as worse as a woman, but you still have a struggle. You're expected to succeed in society. That's something that's not put on women, not nearly as in the same way. But we don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we talk when it comes down to having double standards on the way that we censor content, right? It's just not smart.
You think Twitter should be nationalized?
I don't know if Twitter should be nationalized.
Because that's the only way that's going to happen.
Yeah, but I will say this.
I mean, he's already made it to such stardom and like mainstream. He's been talked on everywhere. So it took them months to make.
I think it's a complex issue,
it's
right?
Not
So
overnight.
it's not an easy issue. I don't think it's an easy fix. I don't think anyone saying it's easily solvable is wrong, because that basically you're just saying whoever runs Twitter and YouTube at the current moment should be God. That's a hard.
No oversight at all.
That's a difficult argument to make.
Two different issues, right? Like, one issue you're addressing, I think everyone agrees with. People, there's a concentration of power in these social medias.
Yes.
They have this unaccountable amount of power that needs to be a conversation around that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also think that hate groups, violent hate groups,
Andrew Tate's not a violent hate group, though.
Not
so it
be
doesn't
expected
matter.
to have free reign to
I
do
think
what the
if
fuck
we
they
could
want.
draw a line around violent hate groups, totally understand.
And I think Tate is a violent hate group.
No, he's not. There's a video from a teacher where she says an 11-year-old boy told a girl that she was fat and belongs in the kitchen, and that she uses men for money, and that she works hard for his money. I mean, that might be true. How does that make it a violent hate group? They are like religious people who go around saying that like women should stay in the kitchen and let men work. Are we going to ban those people too? Like, nobody's arguing that they're good. Like, nobody's arguing Andrew Tate. Most of the people saying that Andrew Tate shouldn't have been banned are like, he's not good, but he's not a violent hate group. He's not a violent hate group. You're delusional if you think that. You need to go outside. He's not a violent hate group. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, it's just not. You have nothing that. There's no foundation for that. He has a bad ideology that needs to be countered, but he's not a violent hate group. Okay, you think it's harmful for kids? Okay, so I think religion's harmful for kids. Like, should we ban religion? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? When the kid says that, the teacher needs to speak against it, and so does the mom and dad. And you want to know what? That should be able to stop it. Like, why? How come the parents don't exist? How come the parents don't exist in this scenario? Like, yeah, what do you, like? I'd smack my kid if they said that. I'd say, you talking about your mother like that? I'd smack my kid. I don't give a fuck. You know? Like that, like that's how you deal with that. And then, Dad, why'd you hit me? Say, you disrespecting your mother. I'm gonna hit you. I don't know what I'm gonna tell you. You know.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're all that's the problem. We're all iPad babies now. You fucking give your kid an iPad instead of raise your fucking kid. What did you expect to happen? Raise your kid, idiot. Okay.
What he's doing, if it's human trafficking, 100%.
There's no if.
That's
no, there is an if, Ela. You're wrong. You can't just say that he's human trafficking. You have no evidence to suggest this, or you have no like everything that's been like you have nothing. You're just saying a thing that's not proven, and there's not a lot of strong evidence for it in general. It's a red flag. Stay away from him, but stop being such. You're like, if you believe this, like, you shouldn't do commentary because you are so fucking far from right. I don't know what to tell you. And I've looked into this so much more deeply than you. I know that for a fact because you guys do zero of a fact checking. You watch like clips. Like, what do you think? I've been sitting out watching like full things that Andrew Tate says, this, that, more than I've even released on my videos. Like, holy fuck, the amount of information that we've gone through over and over again. Like, really looking into this over and over, racking my brain. I don't like Andrew Tate. It would be great if they were real because I have more of a reason to hate this piece of shit. But they're just not. There's just not enough to say that he's definitely doing a thing. I don't know what you want me to tell you. And you're just either lying or you've convinced yourself that you don't need to go through due process. And those are both bad things. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
I know nothing about that.
I think we set that aside.
We can set that aside.
Yeah.
Well,
he also does like his whole hustler.
Right.
If it's true, then why would you say so?
University is on like a pyramid scheme.
I would never tell anyone to join Hustlers University.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are so many
Again, like, I mean, I know we're calling it like an MLM, like, but like a lot of it is just like bullshit advice for young people to be like, here's how you can be successful. Like, they're paying $50 for that. I mean, I think it's not good, you know, but to completely call it like, I don't know if it's a scam. I think that like it's lazy. I think I watched like CoffeeZilla talk about it. It's lazy. It's dumb. It's like there's nothing really there. But if you're gonna pay $50 a month for that, again, these are young men that are fucking desperate because we have a generation that doesn't give a fuck about men, and we have a lot of shitty fathers that aren't there for their kid. Like, let's really talk about it. That's what the real fucking problem is, and they're looking for another get quick rich scheme. It's not good. I wouldn't say it's bannable though. You know, like.
Pyramid schemes. There's so many guys on YouTube with selling bullshit classes.
I want to separate the pyramid scheme and the human trafficking.
Yeah, like then that's true too. Like, you'd have to ban all of them then if it's just the pyramid scheme.
I don't want to give him any benefit of the doubt that maybe it's just a troll. That's why I'm
dating him. Is that okay? Does that matter to anyone?
That is interesting.
Here's the reality. He's gay and he hates women. No, listen, I agree that a lot of what I've heard him say, some of it's trolly and funny, when he says, when he goes, if I go and have sex with a woman I don't love her, it's not cheating, it's exercise. To me, that seems like you're making a joke.
Yeah, but he's not.
But he's not. That's why I keep bringing those things up.
I don't even know what he's referring to. I don't even know what he's on about there. I need to see the clip. Okay, I found the clip, I think. I found the clip. What's happening here? Okay, let's restart this.
4 girls flew in. I sat them all down at a table. They're all like, who's this chick? Who's this chick? Told them all the truth. I just straight sat there. Just sat there and said, listen, I've been with you all. I'm starting a webcam business. I'm going to get rich. Some of you are going to come with me to the top of the mountain, or if you're pissed off, you can fucking fly home. So a woman can't go around fucking people and pretend it's the same as a man running around fucking people. It's absolutely not the same. A man can only cheat if he loves someone else. If I have a woman who I truly love, and I go out and fuck, and I come back to her, and I don't care about her, and I only love my girl, that's not cheating. That's exercise. If she even talks to a dude, it's cheating. Because females are emotionally invested. I have no emotional investment. So no, I'm making this very, very clear. Any woman who was with me never even, the only men they spoke to besides me were my brother, and the guys online who were paying them.
So here's what this is. This is pretty typical. This is somebody using humor to reinforce a point. Here's what I know. That he doesn't actually believe it's exercise. I also know that he does believe that there's a double standard between cheating. So he's using humor and he's exaggerating, but he still means what he says at the core, where it's much more okay for a man to cheat than a woman. But I've heard him say 100 times more acceptable that like a man does this. Comment TW, right? That's a problem. Explain why that's hate speech, right? It's not good. And the reality is, men generally, I would say, physically cheat more. Men, I think, have the ability to have more or less attached sex than women. That doesn't mean that there aren't women who can't have like unattached sex, or that there aren't men that like need that attachment, right? It goes both ways. So like he's referencing that. It doesn't make cheating okay or right. It's shitty behavior. But explain to me, like, where does this become hate speech? I think it's dumb, and I disagree. Where does it become hate speech? Right?
exercise. To me, that seems like you're making a joke.
Yeah, but he's not.
But he's not. That's why I keep bringing.
But he is. You have to understand what I don't. This is the problem is that Ethan doesn't know what a joke means. Like I don't understand. Like these fucking people have such like a very like no. They have like a very non-nuanced take on the world. Like to them, I feel like this is Ethan's the type of person where it's like if something's a joke, it makes it okay. No, that's never how this. That's incel behavior. Making a joke doesn't mean that what you did was okay. If you made a pure joke, it makes it okay. But a lot of times people use humor to like as a vehicle to push their ideas. You have the, yeah, I know it's a joke, but he still believes that. That's the response to have. Like, like it just bothers me when people just don't, because this is what all like political comedians do. They use humor to drive a point home. But you have like no nuanced take on what any of this means. You're fucking weird.
Those things up because he's not a troll. He's not a comedian. He's not.
He is
funny, on right? Big Brother, like it seems like he.
Yeah, he was a while ago.
Yeah, I don't.
He is part of it as an entertainer. Sure.
He got kicked off.
And I don't know if you saw those videos of the teachers from school.
No, I didn't see those.
So kids are like refusing to listen to a female teacher.
That's not.
They're refusing.
And they say we learned it from Tate.
They're refusing to read an essay.
So where's the father? Why isn't the you know what I mean? Oh, but the father's not there. Well, fucking, it's not the mother's fault. You know what I'm saying? But like, where's the why are we putting all the blame on Tate? Like Tate is wrong here, but like we have like very shitty family situations now. We don't have we need stronger male role models. Have a principal come in, have a male come in, and explain to them why they're wrong. Explain to them. Do you like? I don't know what you want to tell you. Like teach, like do your due diligence. It's not good, but like, is this hate speech? No, it's Tate speech. Sorry, I had to get the joke of that. Right. But you like this? Okay, yeah, that's not right. What about kids who go into their classroom and go like, that kid over there, Justin is gay. He's going to hell. Should we ban religion? Do you see like what? Ban religion then? Fucking ban religion. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we should. I think we should counter that with intelligence, and we should counter that idea. But like. Anytime somebody does a wrong thing, whatever they listen to needs to be banned. Okay. It's crazy. You know? Like, it's just fucking nuts.
Say that was written by a female author.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's
really
listen,
bad.
That's crazy.
And so that's like
it's really bad.
That's not good. And there's got to be there's blame for that in more places than Andrew Tate, but absolutely, like there's
of course
yes,
there is.
But we don't have to look everywhere around but at the problem.
A lot of people are fucking up, but yeah, I don't think this is a guy who has ideas that are helping the next generation of men. The question becomes...
In the same way that...
Not helping is a nice way to phrase it.
Absolutely not.
I just want to say, like, not helping is a nice way to phrase it. Right. It's harming.
Corrupting. Yeah, corrupt. Let's go as far as say corrupt.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that. My only concern is that unaccountable people being able to do something completely without any type of transparency as a standard for the whole country is, to me, itself problematic in that sense. Like I do think that
I agree, but at the same time, I don't think that I've seen like a ton of egregious.
Well, I think part of it is that
like you have to be a giant.
I mean, who's the other guy?
What if the person that ran YouTube ended up being a right-wing lunatic, right? This idea that that the people that agree with me are always going to be in power or they're always going to do the right things. One of the reasons that you try to establish, I think, these standards that remain somewhat.
That's fair. Like, what happens if they're no longer in power? What happens if conservatives are more in power? The ones that are trying to ban, gay people from getting married, religious people. Maybe we should ban them, right? We shouldn't, but that's the other. What happens if they become in power and now all of a sudden they're like, we should ban this because I find it wrong. I think that non-binary people are wrong. We should ban non-binary people. You know what I mean? Like, where does it? It's an exchange of ideas. Our prevailing ideas our ideas are prevailing right now, like progressive ideas. That's great. What if they weren't? This is what countries that have very religious centers that are more conservative, that oppress people, this is what they say. They say, we're right because people believe us. You know what I mean? What happens if it shifts? Because you would say, like, yeah, no, I don't think that it's good to have this type of censorship in these other countries because I don't agree with it. Okay, well, so then maybe we should make a standard where it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. What's being said isn't banned, right? Unless it's advocating for like actual literal violence.
What concrete, not as vague, is so that no matter who's running an organization, you don't necessarily have a problem.
I think this whole I think fair. There is a victim complex on the right. They think they're being censored. In truth, I really don't think they're being more censored than and
No, I
live.
think
Oh yeah, it's because you're wrong. Yes, they are. They 100% are. What are you talking about? More conservative, like leaning things are more censored. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I mean, we just talked about it. Like, again, it's okay to shit on the status quo, the people in power, and those people. And like, you'll get sent. Like, if you make a joke about women on like TikTok, you have a higher chance of getting censored than if you make a joke about a man. You know what I mean? Like, it's just reality. That would be more conservative leaning ideology, right? I would say, right? What are you talking? I mean, come on, bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay.
When you look at it, people look at the
Yes.
the leadership
Yeah.
of tech companies, and they usually say they're libs.
Well, there's people on the far left that have been censored too. I mean, Abby Martin and Chris Hedges are not right wing at all. So I don't
Sure.
think it is only right wing.
I mean,
It's not only right wing, but it is more right wing. Sure.
like Steven Crowder, for example, he's out there like reenacting the George Floyd
Yeah, right. He's an
murder
asshole.
for
Right.
shits and giggles, and he's fine. He's still on YouTube.
Right.
So I feel like they're pushing it.
Yeah, he's an asshole. I actually think is he on YouTube still? I think he might have gotten banned temporarily or something. But either way, yeah, he's an asshole. I mean, like, I think that's fucking horrible. But like using one example of a really shitty person doesn't mean that like everything. Oh, it's all Oh, nope, there's no problem. No, okay. Oh, he just got demonetized. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. I mean, I would demonetize him too. I mean, if the advertisers don't want to fucking put their shit on that, yeah, you know.
And the thing is, there's communication. Like these people have a vested interest in playing up the victim.
And there may be stuff with Tate that I don't know, things I haven't heard.
I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there is, and it takes a lot for a person to get removed.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that I'm
It does take a lot for them to get removed. It doesn't mean that the removal is justifiable.
fully aware of it all. I'm just saying my initial reaction is always to question
I'm a teacher.
What's going on.
Right, and by the way, I'm not trying to like my intention is not to ambush you or something like
No.
that.
I
don't feel like that.
I'm always I talk. This is what I do.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I think that's interesting because I think the natural impulse for a lot of people is to be like, oh, let's not censor people. But I wonder.
Well,
I
because
think
there's
some
a thing
people
about delighting in the censorship of your enemies and going, oh, these people disagree with me, let's get rid of them. Because I think we all know that if certain people had their way, it wouldn't only be hate groups, it would be anyone that disagreed with them.
True.
So there are people that hold political positions that are different, and they could easily be described as hateful, right? This is the most contentious, or one of the most contentious periods in our country's history. So if it was easy enough to just say we could all identify what a hate group was and exactly how they behave, but there's people that would advocate banning people that are congressmen and senators and whatever. And then the reality is it's like.
But that's not happening, right?
Yeah, of course it is. There are people that advocate getting all of these people off, right?
Advocating, or is it happening?
Well, it happened with Trump. So that was the.
Right.
Yeah,
and he had it coming. Let's be honest.
Well, for sure, but there is a debate.
And fucking that guy was running loose for a long time.
I do not disagree.
I'm sure people on Twitter were like, you have to stop. You can't say this. You can't say this. I know because I talk to people on the back end of YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
And people who get banned have a vested interest in playing the victim complex, fundraising.
Yes.
And then they don't fucking mention all the times that they had like 20 sit-down conversations.
Well, the reason that correct me if I'm wrong, this was a long time ago, isn't the reason that Trump got banned because he encouraged to some extent like January 6th? Am I wrong about that? Because then I could say like, yeah, that's just justifiable reason to ban someone. Encouraging violence. So, so I can understand that one. Isn't that the same reason Nick Fuentes like got banned or something too, right?
For YouTube, where they're like, listen, you can't say this,
right?
You can't do this. We're warning you.
Yeah,
it happens. No, they say, oh, I suddenly got banned. And so it's just they're not characterizing it in an honest way.
Part of the issue is when you
say Breitbart also live tweeted Pelosi's location. Is that true? That would be fucked up if that's true.
Remove the president of the United States.
Yeah,
you have elevated yourself. You are now above. Some of the most powerful people in the world as this company. And a lot of people are deeply uncomfortable with that. But now people might agree with Trump and saying, I think a timeout would have been good.
You know what's dope?
Yeah.
That Trump is not a fucking king.
No.
And
absolutely.
they can silence him if they want.
For sure.
So fuck him. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's not pretend like Trump is being, hamstrung. The man is the fucking president.
He's not hamstrung
to everybody.
He's not hamstrung
all the time.
But I'm saying,
well, actually, he is a little bit hamstrung. Like Twitter, social media is what people use a lot to talk to people. You can be like, it's okay to hamstring them. That's fine. But you're just kind of wrong about that. Okay.
That's what people question. They go, this is an incredibly powerful group of people that can shut off the president of the United States. No. So whether you agree with it or not, the idea that it can happen.
The issue is where's we have oversight for our government, but why is there no oversight for Twitter? Right.
It's troubling to people. People worry about that. People just go, I don't necessarily know how comfortable I am with people that have that level of power. And that's something that it's not an easy thing. I don't think it's an easy situation. I think there's more complexity than just saying, well, there's people at YouTube, they've had a bunch of meetings. When they make a decision, it's something that
there's literally nothing to do about it other than nationalizing social media.
Well, I think that's certainly a debate.
Or we could just have conversations about this, you know what I mean? And be like, hey, I don't think he should have been.
I don't know that that's going to necessarily fix something, but...
Well, of course it will, because if the government owns it, then the First Amendment applies.
I think we all use social media for the...
Well, but then it's like, well, do people use the... Like, then do people just say it's hate speech because it's bad? You know what I mean? No.
Pros and the cons.
Yes.
I mean, it comes with benefits, and it comes also with this. Trump got elected probably because of Twitter.
Because of social media.
So, he said a lot of shit. He got a lot of...
I think that Trump got elected more than anything else because I think the whole like Hillary email thing like re-emerged like right when it was voting time too, and that hurt him. So
warnings a lot, and that's what happens.
Yes,
that's
I just am generally uncomfortable with,
and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, power.
But still, there needs to be times when people need to be fucking kicked off.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are, for sure. There's
and
absolutely
so who's going to make that decision?
That's
I
the
don't
question.
know. I don't know.
And that's the question. But I agree that there's times where people go way over the line.
Yeah.
But it's just about who makes those decisions, how they're made. And I think it's a stickier situation, especially in the hate speech concept where it's like, there's a lot of things that some would qualify as hate speech to certain people and some wouldn't.
There's a lot of like easily defined hate speech bubbles that I think apply, which is like homophobia, transphobia, anti-Semitism.
Transphobia is not an easy bubble, right? That's not easy.
None of these are easy. Like, well, how would you go as far to say hate speech? If I said like I don't like gay people because it's my religious ideology, would you consider that hate speech? I personally wouldn't. I would consider it wrong. Like, where do you go with hate speech? Because nothing that like Tate said would be really considered hate speech. I don't think
at all. So if somebody says a man can't get pregnant, and that's their belief, somebody might go, that's a hateful statement. Somebody might go, that's a statement that's rooted in biology. They can have that debate. You could hate it or disagree with it, but some people will consider certain things hate speech that are opinions.
True.
Yeah.
Well, ask Ethan. Do you think that's hate speech, Ethan? You know?
I don't think people are getting banned for saying that.
I do think there are instances where people have been banned for the trans or expressing positions that were anti the mainstream.
I think that when you look at
it doesn't really matter if someone got banned for that. His argument is that different people have different interpretations of what is and isn't hate speech, and we need to try to define what hate speech is so that we understand the rules better for people. Right? He doesn't have to prove people have been banned for that. He's just saying that like it's true. Some people would consider that hate speech. I wouldn't. I think that like a man can get pregnant, a trans man can get pregnant. Okay, sorry guys, I like trans people. They're hot. Anyway. But that doesn't mean that I think you're being hateful. I think that you're wrong, and I'm going to talk about why I think you're wrong, and I'll talk to you about why I think that you're wrong about that, right? And then I'll win, and you'll agree with me more because I have a well-rooted, strong ideology when it comes to this topic, and I'm especially better at having this conversation with people who don't agree with me because, like, I understand where you are, and I have, like, a different line of logic that's probably a little different than most people when it comes to their trans-affirming ideologies. That would probably be like, oh, I understand what you're saying now, and even if you don't fully agree, you go like, I get it now. And it would slowly shift your perspective, and that prevailing narrative needs to like happen more.
Each specific case, you'll find that this person went above and beyond in their quest to,
and that's very possible. I have not looked at each specific case, but I do.
Yeah,
think
J.K. Rowling is like what people call her turf, whatever. She says that shit all the time on Twitter. She never.
No, for sure. Absolutely. I'm just saying that like that's an example right there of like that is a.
I wish you'd ask Ethan if you think that J.K. Rowling is spouting hate speech. That would be the question I'd ask. I would like to know where he like lies in that. I'm not super educated on the J.K. Rowling shit. I'm not going to say that I am. But like that's the question I'd want. Like, do you think it's hate speech, or do you think it's hate speech to say that a man can't get pregnant? You know what I mean?
That is it's harder to carve out what's real hate and where people are having a genuine and passionate disagreement.
Sure.
But I don't think you should be able to tweet like crazy stuff at people and at groups of people. Like I do believe that there needs to be like a line.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's just not as easy always to establish what that line is. Yeah. That's all.
Right. Obviously, right. There's nuance to it, right?
There's just nuance.
I mean, we have to deal with it on the daily when Ethan makes a bad joke, and
I don't think
and
you
then
guys
we get banned
it.
for a week.
Right.
I mean, it's just part of our business.
I get in trouble all the time.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that it was justifiable? Because I'm pretty sure I remember you saying that it was bullshit and it's just a joke and you shouldn't have been banned. Why? So did you genuinely shift, or are you just kind of like changing your specific perspective now to seem like, you're like, I've been banned before and I understand, because you never said that up until this point. Maybe I'm just not educated enough on it, but you were doubling down saying it was just a joke. You shouldn't have got me banned. And then when you came back, you were even like kind of alluding at it and you doubled down on it after the fact. So, you know, it seems like you've shifted your perspective all of a sudden now that like your old perspective doesn't align with your current perspective of hating Andrew Tate. So, was it just a joke? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I defended Ethan on this point. I just want you to know. But
time.
Right.
Like, for example, recently I said,
and don't say it.
I'm just saying. Well, I'll tell him what I said. You can
cut.
Yeah. Did you see that whole fallout?
I didn't see it, but I can
turned
imagine
into a big story. Donald Trump Jr. was tweeting about me.
Yes.
And I got busted. I got kicked off for a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you were very against you getting censored for that. You said it was just a joke and that you should have been able to say it. And I defended him on that. But thinking about it now, maybe like now that we're in the discourse, maybe he should have got banned. Actually, I've always said it was fair that he got banned. I just said that he didn't actually call for threat. I think that the ban was fair. It's like applying the rules to both sides equally. But I've always said it was just a very edgy joke out of frustration, of course.
Sometimes timeouts, you know.
Would that be such a bad thing, by the way?
No, I don't know.
They didn't know what I said. They don't know what I said.
Don't. It could be argued that they do know what you said, so don't.
No, I didn't say it.
Right. Oh, I thought you meant the timeout is what that.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
I got it.
Well, it's interesting that your perspective changed all of a sudden.
You're on the button, Ethan.
Where's my machete? No.
That was a joke, by the way.
Okay.
We're not as far away as we think.
The way that I see it, Andrew Tate, because I'm very aware of.
You might know more than because I don't know.
Maybe right? Maybe possibly.
He doesn't. He doesn't. I just want you to know that he doesn't watch the content really, so he doesn't really know. He's probably seen like 3 minutes worth of Andrew Tate stuff. I have seen. Wow. I think it's reasonable to say that I've seen maybe upwards of 10 hours worth of Andrew Tate content. Like, you would, if I wasn't a commentary content creator, you'd think I was fucking obsessed. Because this is what I'm commentary. That's what I do. I mean, like, I've watched significant amounts of his content. I haven't even released all of it. Maybe not 10, 5. Yeah, maybe 10 actually. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. I've watched a lot of Andrew Tate related content because like I'm trying to be as accurate as possible, and you know, when it comes to this topic,
yeah,
I see him as a hate group where like Jews.
Well, he's not really a hate group; he's a person, but
Jews, blacks, Muslims,
yes,
trans gays. They're
trans gays,
groups of people, right? Just so to speak.
Yeah.
So when it comes to women, it's like.
You should never advocate violence.
Nobody's speaking up like in the same way.
Sure.
And I think
everybody, I just want you to understand, universally, Ethan, everybody's speaking up against Andrew Tate. This idea, again, can we just stop with this bullshit where nobody's talking about Andrew Tate? Red pillars, Andrew Tate's rise is directly correlated with the absolute destruction of red pill ideology right now. A lot of red pill people are getting fucking destroyed. Look at Andrew Tate and Sneeko. They're fucking memes now. That's the reality. You can pretend that it's not true, but they were getting dunked on, and they continue to get dunked on. If anything, you stopped the meme machine. It was more fun when we got to shit on Andrew Tate. I would argue that there was more discourse about this. There was more people getting de-radicalized than there is now. Andrew Tate had very few people defending him, and when they did, bro, they were fucking destroyed. The number one destroyer of red pill is probably going to be like Abba and Preach, honestly. Like the biggest viewed like red pill fucking destruction machine was Abba and Preach. I don't know what to tell you. Like getting like millions of views on just fucking dunking on Andrew Tate. Again, even Hassan did. So what are you you're pretending that like nobody's talking about this guy. Everybody is. You're not the only one. Frankly, you're probably the least effective anti-Andrew Tate person. Everybody has really gone in and like really like deconstruct this guy. I mean, like I certainly have Ab and Preach, CoffeeZilla. These are some of the people Ethan was talking about when they defending him. Everybody's really been shitting on the guy. Probably more effectively. Because like my audience, I guarantee you, is more conservative leaning. There's probably more red pillars in there that'll listen to me, or potential red pillars that might be able to get like saved from the pullback than Ethan's audience, which is very progressive. That's the audience he's garnered. So I don't really, the same thing with Abba and Preach for sure. More, probably a little bit more conservative than me. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. You're red pilled and papa pilled, very poggers. Right? Let's try to get rid of the red pill.
I think that as a group of women, he's advocating for violence against
If
them.
he's advocating for violence against women, then that
He's
is
not,
absolutely
He absolutely is.
But he's not, right? Like, that's the problem. I hate that, like, I'm in a position that I have to defend Andrew Tate. Ethan sucks.
I the things that I'd heard were these trolly kind of misogynistic things, but none of them were like, let's hit women.
It's not trolly. That's what you learn when you watch enough of his stuff. He is funny.
It is trolly. It doesn't mean that the jokes mean that he doesn't mean it, right?
Entertaining, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem. You know, but a lot of fucking a lot of the fascists and psychos and shit, they're very charismatic.
For sure.
Yeah. You
Some of them are, for sure.
know,
For sure.
Also, there's kind of a phenomenon I've noticed amongst like white nationalists and Nazis
Amongst
online.
us.
They talk about everything like it's a joke, but they're not joking. You know what I mean?
Don't you do that, though, Ethan? Like, does it, like, apply? Can I just, I mean, like, by this logic, you called for a bombing threat on the NRA. A lot of these guys use jokes as a mask for this, that. What about you? Why are you different? I'm not saying that, like, a lot of them don't do that. Like, Nick Fuentes does it all the time. Dude's total white supremacist piece of shit. But, like, isn't it possible that, like, maybe they're not, like, us 100% serious? You know what I mean? Maybe you're projecting. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, there's an irony.
yeah, it's
Sure.
all about irony.
Yes.
So it's like, anyway, watch this. I think this is interesting.
Okay, let's see.
And I teach 6th grade. We've been in school for 3 days now, and within these 3 days, the amount of young 11-year-old boys that have told me that they love Andrew Tate is ridiculous. This man is really affecting the minds of young men. I had a boy today, 11, turn to a girl and tell her that she's fat. Women need to be thin. She sits at home and she eats all day, and that she's like every other girl in the world, and that she uses men to get money. And at least he's a hardworking man and he works for his money.
Yeah, put the kid in special ed. He's obviously a fucking idiot. Like, you know what I mean? All jokes aside, like, yeah, that's wrong. This doesn't mean you should ban Andrew Tate. Like, this doesn't mean that you should ban Andrew Tate. I don't know. How about you sit down and educate him? How about you get a man to do it? And I'm not even saying because women are incapable, but if you have a young kid that, like, disrespects women, have a man sit down and give him some shit. Let me tell you something, bro. Because I was raised by a single mother, very strong woman, basically a mother and a father together, probably more of a father, frankly. But if you a young 11-year-old kid, if you sit that kid down with a fucking, especially a hard ass fucking grown man, okay, you're gonna change. I had a scoutmaster. This man was a Vietnam War veteran. He was a hard ass too. Hard ass, rough around the edges, fucking crazy, bro. I remember we went on like a trail, a Boston trail. It was like, I think it was in Boston. This was a long time ago when I was in the Boy Scouts. We did like a religious trail. And at one point I made a snarky comment about religion. I don't remember the specifics. And then he called me back. He let everybody walk away. He didn't do it in front of everybody. And he said to me, he said, like, you know, you have whatever belief you want to have, but you're going to be respectful. And he said it stern, and he said it in stern. And I was, yes, sir. You'd be surprised how little it takes, right? Young boys like that are going down a bad path, put them in front of a real fucking man, and they're not going to fuck around. You wouldn't let a grown man talk to you like that? Okay. That's the reality. Have a strong man say that. And as rough around the edges, my scoutmaster was. Always respected my mother. He was the kind of guy who would make like inappropriate jokes and stuff like that. Sometimes they may have been like a little bit regressive. If he ever made that joke, he didn't get it though. If he made that joke for my mother, you need to stop right now. And he'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And then he'd say my mom's last name, of course. Miss last name. You know what I mean? Like, this is everybody's flawed, but this is a man who respects women, but he's a fucking Vietnam War vet, hard ass motherfucker. You know, like, this is what you need to do. Go get it. You know, go get somebody who's like, this is the thing that you guys don't understand. A lot of these young men, they're not going to respond to people like fucking Ethan. They don't look at him as like a real man. I don't even want me to tell you, but probably used the same. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I mean, because of what I wear tie-dye shirts. I mean, like, I don't know, you know? Be a fucking man. Yeah, give him some, like, a real man to talk to. Like, this isn't appropriate. I'm going to explain to you why. Do your fucking job as a teacher. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's unfortunate, but do your fucking job. Tell the parents. Have the dad say some shit. Right? You know? Stand up for your shit. Can't always be Andrew Tate's fault for every fucking problem, like when it comes to this. Sometimes you got to get your shit together. You got to be a little bit of a strong guy. Okay? Sometimes you got to be a man. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
An 11-year-old?
They're 11,
An
right?
11-year-old did that?
Yeah, but yeah, which is like
That's not great.
No, exactly. And there's actually a lot of
So why is that ban worthy?
examples of this because school just started.
Yeah.
And there's kids that fucking look up to this guy, and it's
So
like,
I don't know why, as a
nuts.
parent, you're letting your child, 11-year-old, watch Andrew Tate videos.
Well,
Yeah.
it gets more complicated
Yeah.
than just letting your kid watch because, like,
Well, it can, but also maybe it's not that complicated. Maybe we have a generation of fucking parents putting their kids in front of. Bro, went to Golden Corral when I was in Florida the other day with my wife. Wish they had him in New York. Couple walks in with their two kids, sits them at the table. What's the first thing they do? 2 fucking iPads. They pull them out. They have their kid looking at an iPad while they're eating. What the fuck are you doing? Your kid can't get through a fucking meal without being what? It's being stimulated? You think that's good for your kid to just push it? I don't want them to yell, so I put a laptop on there. Are you fucking kidding me? You're having the goddamn laptop or the fucking iPad raise your kid. What's the attention span of this kid going to be? That's crazy. It's crazy.
some teachers said that some kids of immigrant parents and they don't understand English.
Right,
They don't.
okay.
They see the kid.
I was
watching.
picturing like
you know.
your
Oh, that's such an outlier. Okay. They just hold on.
Kids of immigrant parents and they don't understand.
So now where it's like, well, some of them might have immigrant parents that don't know English. Maybe, Ela. Holy fuck. That's possible. Do you think that's most kids? Holy shit. That's a fucking stretch.
English.
Right,
They don't.
okay.
They see the kid.
I was
watching.
picturing like
You know.
your parents going like, "Hey, we got your birthday present, 12 months at Hustlers University."
No,
That
no, it's
seems
not like that.
not to
Yeah.
be great parenting.
And
Yeah,
you're right.
right.
And
That seems to be a
It's
problem.
not. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's
not great
some
parenting.
obligation for the parents, but ultimately, they can't control everything, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We've solved it.
Conversation solved.
No, it's
I think-
interesting, and I didn't think his shelf life was going to be long either way,
I didn't either.
whether he was banned or not.
I am
To me-
It wasn't. He was getting memed on. He was pretty much on his way out regardless. You guys allowed him to be martyred instead of just letting him fizzle out like a fucking fucking cigarette in a pool.
Surprised it happened so fast, though.
Well, I think things usually do.
I noticed you said one thing where you're like, well,
Yeah.
he was
It's funny because Ethan's like, this wasn't like, he said it wasn't overnight. It was basically overnight. He's like, it happened over months. Then he got banned. It's like, no, he kind of got banned from everything in like a night. Now Ethan's like, yeah, it happened so fast. Okay, well, which one is it? You know?
I am
to me,
surprised it happened so fast, though.
Well, I think things
which one
usually
is it?
do.
I noticed you said one thing where you're like, well, he
Yeah.
was doing misogyny before, and
He
like,
was, yeah.
you can't police. You're right. You can't
Yeah.
police like every person.
Well, for sure. But what I'm saying is,
floated
like,
up.
yeah,
He floated up.
I also think like there should be some acknowledgement of what he is speaking to, which is perhaps there's a hole in the market for
Right.
sane, rational, positive male, like,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean?
We've known that for a long time.
Yeah, like where they're not, we obviously are not needing to say what he says, but like
Jordan Peterson.
there might not, right.
That's
yeah.
it. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, but there should be maybe more positive male
Yes.
speakers and role models that are not,
Right.
that don't have machetes.
I totally agree, man. And
Yeah.
and that's a problem. I wish somebody could break through to these guys who wasn't
Right.
like a psychopath.
Well, I think some of it is that people do like humor. So people do like people to be funny. I think
Yeah.
what he says is very, a lot of it is
Charismatic.
very shocking, and
Yeah.
it's the opposite of everything they're hearing. So it makes it fascinating immediately, but it has crazy negative implications. Hopefully, that there could be somebody that wouldn't be.
I think we
as-
can do that together. We need to do the.
I would hope so.
What would be the name of our course from Hustlers University? We could be the.
Yeah. Let me tell you right now, it would not be one of the bigger ones. It would be like a.
I don't think that, I know he's just joking, but I don't think Ethan would ever be able to be like any type of like, this is the man you should be like. I'm sure there are people who would look up to Ethan, but he's not going to encapsulate or capture the fucking hearts and minds of a bunch of young men who are trying to be good men. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Okay.
It would be a smaller course. I'm trying to think of what the name would be.
Hustler. Well, not a hustler.
Yeah.
Oh, funny and unfit, like fresh and
funny
fit.
and unfit, or just we'll just call it like
hot dog drinker university,
hot dog drinker, male tits,
big old
male tits,
milkers,
big old tits,
two fat idiots,
and then everyone will click on it because he'll go, oh, it's a hot bitch, and then it's just us telling people that
he said bitch. You get to deplatform this guy for hate speech.
Here's the thing: a guy like me telling you to get up and go to work doesn't do anything.
Right.
Because by the way, I mean, it's
fix
just
your room.
Yeah,
clean your room.
You need like a bold, like boxing kickboxer to go put your sock in the drawer.
True.
But if I say it, it's just like, shut up, you fat, you fuck.
Yeah.
You know.
He's 100% right. That's how people are going to interpret it. I don't even agree with everything of that, but like I don't agree with you just being like, you're fat, I'm not gonna listen to you. But that's just the reality. You need to have like a fucking fit guy saying all this shit.
No one cares.
Right.
But by the way, it's guys like me that have been saying it forever, right? It's like people that look
Clean
like me
your
who have
fucking
been.
room.
Yeah. Part of it upsets me that people need this, right?
Can I say
Right.
Yeah.
Do we really need to clean our rooms?
Well, it depends how bad they are.
Yeah, it depends how bad.
It really depends
levels
how bad
to
they are. I have
first of all,
I have maids and cleaners, for example.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't
but, like,
need,
I'm
yeah.
not a guy who even let's hypothetically say I'm neat.
Yeah.
Let's say I don't like making my bed, and I don't.
I hate it.
Well, you should clean your room because your environment around you is going to have an impact on like your motivation level. So if you live in a dirty space, you're not going to be as motivated to be successful. You're probably going to you should clean your room. Now, I think you need to fold our laundry? That's ridiculous. Just ball it up and throw it in a drawer. I mean, but just put it away. I think folding laundry is a waste. You want to say, oh, what about wrinkles? I don't care. Shut up. Okay.
Exactly. So what is this? Like, let's just clean our room a little bit. That's
But
what I
there should be a space for people like us that have other gifts. And not conform.
Exactly.
We shouldn't have to conform to like, oh, make your bed or stay at that scene of the accident. We should be able to do our own thing. We have a different thing.
Well, you know what? I loved seeing Jake.
If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, it's mellow, bro. Or if it's yellow, it's mellow. If it's brown, I got it backwards. It's true. Save water.
Paul speak against Andrew Tate.
Mm-hmm.
And
what a great moment in masculinity.
And I think that's exactly what you're describing, though. It's like this guy that like all these kids do look up to him. Those same boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't listen.
Wait. What?
So isn't that Jake Paul being good?
But didn't Jake Paul also tweet that it was like a travesty that he got censored?
Did he?
I think he did.
He said that he didn't say it was a travesty. I mean, you were looking at the tweet at some point. Probably the day after. He said something along the lines that he thinks that what he did was bad, but he shouldn't have been banned, basically.
Yeah,
he did?
Yeah, he was one of those.
Just take whatever half you agree with.
Oh, well, if he doesn't agree with me fully, then I fuck him now. Fuck this guy. He has to be perfect. He has to be exactly like me. Well, if he was exactly like you, he probably wouldn't be somebody people look up to, would he? So, yeah. I'm trying to find the tweet.
I mean, it's the internet, you know. That's not.
No, I saw both. I saw both.
Okay, I only saw one.
Yeah, just be careful.
No, it's just half of it's nice. Half of anyone's nice.
That's very true.
Damn,
He said
with the good one.
he said before you compliment him, I'll just show you this. And then you can
Okay.
Yeah.
He said I don't roll with Andrew Tate. May KO his ass out in the ring one day, but I roll with freedom of speech, baby. Andrew Tate speaks on the bench. Again, freedom of speech means the government doesn't lock you up for saying something.
Yes, I think that.
Yeah.
So
that concept.
Nobody's getting locked.
I think that most people interpret freedom of speech as like the ability to speak freely. Of course, as long as you're not speaking in a violent capacity. If you're just gonna keep like pivoting to like these companies can do whatever they want, they can. Then like there's no conversation that you need to have. Ever. Like you might as well not engage. You're using it as a shutdown tactic. Like we understand that the companies get their ability to do what they want to do, but we can still have conversations about whether we think it's okay for them to do it.
Up.
Yes.
And let's be honest, social media is not essential.
Right.
You learned that when you take
What up, Tipster?
3 days off Twitter. It is not essential.
I think
at all.
Hustlers University will endure.
It'll live forever.
That'll be
It's
fine.
an institution.
It will be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
There'll be an endowment.
But you know what I mean? It's like social media is just not. It's not essential. It's really not.
I think there certainly is aspects of your life that get a lot better without it, but then there's also things that, you know, a lot of times you need it to just participate in like the conversation.
Yeah, in general, sure. I mean, a lot of people like, you know, you don't always. I understand what he's saying. Like, I tend to agree. Like, it's the new online. It's like the new space online, and he's banned off pretty much everything.
Well, here let's.
Okay, great conversation. Good job, Ethan. You're getting better every day at being worse. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.